Hello to all the people, the visitors to the EuroTier in China. My name is Jonathan Amir. I'm a dairy farmer, lives in Moshav Hayogev, in the center of the Israel Valley. And I'm here to tell you take a few moments to tell you about my farm and the dairy farming in Israel as well. Hello and welcome to all the visitors to the China DLG Farming Exhibition. My name is Jonathan Amir, and I would like to take this opportunity to this time that we have together to tell you some information about myself, my farm, the dairy industry in Israel, and how we face the different challenges as today's farmers. So as I said, my name is Jonathan Amir, and I have been in this farm since 1987. Beforehand, I worked as a daily employee in different dairy farms in the Golan Heights since my early teens. In 87, I married my wife, grew up here on her parents' farm. When we started here in 87, we took over from my wife's family, and as I can see here in the picture next to me, this is my mother-in-law at the age of 16 in 1944, milking by hand with her father. And you can see next to her one of the old wagons that we used to use to bring in freshly cut grass to feed the cows. As I mentioned beforehand, when I came here in 1986 with my wife, we started helping her parents take over the farm. The farm initially, we always had a dairy here, but we also grew turkeys and also had different crops and an olive grove. As you can see behind me, these are some of the old buildings, the original buildings from 1940 and 1950. We have changed their usage over the years. Some of these buildings are in the future planned to enlarge the milking parlour, and these buildings will come down. But this building here on the left, which is originally where we used to grow turkeys, today is now my infirmary for the newborn calf. And as you can see on the other side, we have the young calves at different ages and different groups, and the dry cows here, which is also where they give birth. But you can see very close to me, my neighbor who also has a dairy farm, and you can see we're all very close to each other because we have very small farms, because Israel is a very small country. So we have no grazing. The cows spend all their lives in the barn under the roof, which is why it's so important to have good ventilation, good bedding, and also good food and treatment of the food trough, so they have ample access whenever they want. This is a snapshot of the situation of the dairy industry in Israel. We manufacture in the country 1.5 billion liters. We have a national herd of just under 120,000 cows. We have only 715 dairy farms. 22 of them, 22% are in co-ops, big farms. They produce between 3 to 12 million liters, and the others are small family farms. We produce around 1 million liter per farm. Our average amount of milk that we produce per cow is close to 12,000 liters of milk per cow per year, with an average fat level of 3.83 and the average protein level of 3.43. The average national consumption per person in Israel is about 117 liters, which is not that very high, but we're trying every year to try and increase that number. Okay. One of the things that enables us to get to these amazing results is we're a small country, and also everybody knows everybody, from school, from families, from marriages, from the army. And as you can see here, we have a very close relationship between our dairy farmers, the industry that we work with, and the scientists. I can speak to a manager of one of the companies, call him at home, because we've known each other for many, many years. A lot of us have grown up together. So there's a constant flow of information from the field to the industry and to the scientists to try and find solutions, because we're constantly trying to improve ourselves. The time it takes for the industry to understand what the farmers need is immediate. Okay. Over the years, the dairy industry is no different than the farming industry around the world, and we have gone through major reforms. And here I want to show you the distance that we've made over 30 years, from 1989 to 2019. You see, we used to produce in 89 only 890 million liters, and today we produce 1.5 billion. However, as you can see, the consumption per person here has gone down, which is a bit of a problem. We're trying constantly to compete that. But again, the big difference is the amount of dairy farms. We have gone down by 50%, which is a major situation. It's the same all over the world. A lot of farms are closing. The majority of the farms that are closing are in the family sector, which is a problem because we want continuation. And you can see here the differences that we have gone through. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You want me to go over every single one, or? No, okay. You want me to go through every one? Okay. Here you can see very, very visually the reduction in the number of dairy farms we had from 1,450 to only 715. But on the other side, each farm now has 3 times more cows in each farm. Okay, next one. Yeah. Okay. Go back one. Yeah. Okay. The dairy farming in Israel is 2 main groups. We have the kibbutzim, which are the co-op farms, and we have the family farms, which is I have a family farm. The majority of the farms that you can see, the reduction has been within the family farms. The co-ops have also closed. A lot of them closed by uniting each other, and they grew from 3 million liters up to 12 million liters. And we've gone from, I started here in 87, we produced 260,000. Today I produce 730. So you can see the big difference over the years. Yeah, again, as I showed you beforehand, the national quota has gone from 850 million to 1.5 million. The majority of the quota has gone into the big co-op farms and less to the family farms. Yeah. One of the biggest problems we face, especially in a hot country like Israel, is heat stress. And of course, the way we feel the heat and the way the cows feel heat is very different. And the combination between the actual temperature, the humidity, and wind speed is very, very different. We can sweat, whereas the cows can't. We have a long period of time of heat stress, starting in April, going on to October, and sometimes even into November, when the most, as you can see, the hottest months of the year are June to September. and it causes a lot of damage. It costs us a lot of money, and as you can see here, the effect of the heat stress on the herd, the different problems that it causes. Okay, next. Okay. Basically, it causes a big decrease in income. So we have to try and find ways to try and minimize the effect of the heat stress. The only way we do that with different aids. One of the most important one is the monitoring, the actual monitoring of each individual cow to see how she's feeling. Above that, we have to keep the herd cool as possible by a main means of shading them, giving them ventilation, and giving them the best possible living conditions. This is a chart showing how we monitor the herd. As you can see here, in the beginning of May, we had a transition of heat wave. We had a heat wave, which is what you can see in the pink line. And then from June, you can see it's just climbing up and it's constantly very, very high, which causes, of course, a lowering in the amount of time the cows eat and rumination. And that, of course, when the cow is eating less, she's producing less and she's suffering. Yeah, next. Okay, so here you can see an example of cooling the herd. We bring them in to a waiting yard and we just shower a combination of shower them with water, with ventilation to transfer the heat from the cows to the environment, therefore bringing the heat of the actual cows down.
כמה זמן יופיע מים?
Just the importance of having good shade and having very good ventilation. These new fans, these fans are called helicopters. And when they started using them, the idea was to move as much air as possible throughout the barn today, after some years of experience, we now understand that it's not about moving the amount of air, but the speed of the air. We need to move the air as fast as possible. So you see the fans, the speed of the fans is much bigger, is much faster than they used to be, and much smaller than some of the very big fans that you sometimes see. Okay, managing living conditions. These are the three major points. Is always making sure they have the feed, it's accessible, it's clean, it's fresh food, they have clean water, accessible, they can get to the water very quickly, and of course making sure the bedding is always dry and spread out so the cows don't have to spend more energy walking long distances to get to eat or to drink, and they can also lie down, because the more time the cow can spend lying down regurgitating her food, the more milk she'll produce. Saska, you have a mistake with the picture of the water. Okay, okay. So as you can see here in this picture, you can see you can see the fat on top, you can see the dry bedding, and also you can see these metal containers very next to each other. These are the water troughs, very close to the food, so the cow doesn't have to go very far to eat or to drink or to lie down, which is all very convenient for the cow, because we want her to spend the least amount of energy so that she can spend that energy on producing milk. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was informative for you, and I will be very happy once we don't have any more COVID-19 that we can travel and actually see each other's dairy farms.